Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden and Thrive Like a Viking headquarters. And that is zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. Can everybody hear me good? I'm still experimenting with the iPad setup, but so far, in the past couple of weeks, it's proven to be very useful because I can see way more of the comments. So, let me catch my breath for a second because I was like rocketing up and down the stairs, gathering stuff so that I could show you guys. So, it will take me just a moment. Okay. So, let me know, where are you at? Where are you viewing from? I know that, I'm going to get the iPad thing so that it will be like this. I'm going to get a stand for it. So, it'll be more like this. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? Yes. Some early tips. Oh, yeah. Val, thank you. Hello. Hello, Ursula. Yes. Hello. Creative Soil. I'm brewing some tea. Yes. Good to see you here. Guys, Creative Soil just posted a video on his channel a couple days ago. He tagged me in it. He mentioned the Thrive Like a Viking channel in it, and he's doing the ice bathing. He is getting the practices, conditioning the vascular system, and really exercising the neurological muscle that we call the willpower. And so that is fantastic. You guys could check that out. Let's see. Scarecrow Valley says, am I in here? Yes, you are, my friend. Yes. Hello, Val and Carol Vance. Hello, Brian Ari. Good morning, Nate and all. Here with my wife getting ready for the day. Much peace and blessings, my Viking tribe. Nice. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Why do I keep messing with this thing? It won't stay still. Okay. Let's go up, see what you guys have been talking about. Scarecrow Valley says, this has been a great year for me. That is really good to hear, my friend. Me too. It's been a fantastic year all the way around. It was a good growing year. We had a couple of drought. We had a drought to begin with, and then we had about 8 weeks where it was normal Indiana weather, where it rains once or twice a week, and it's in the 80s, give or take. Pretty much perfect growing weather. So Northern Indiana, I mean, it's got good growing weather. You can pretty much plant anything in the summertime because it's not baking hot. I mean, I thought it was hot. It is hot for a Viking, Viking blood. But when I'm hearing you guys report back from like Texas and stuff, talking about it's 117 here or it's 110 here, no way. I mean, I believe you, but no way I could be doing that. So the Viking snowman melts. Let's see here. Oh, Serendakota. $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, always have done mantras, but your mantra every day and every way. I'm getting better and better. And has now replaced 99% of the rest. Thank you for sharing. Yes, you're very welcome, my friend. That's what I like to hear. So if you guys are interested in that kind of talk, that is on the Thrive Like a Viking channel every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And we do all kinds of stuff like that. So that is wonderful to hear. Queen RB, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, we'll listen later. Cleaning up my 3 gardens. Planting more cover crops in spots. Rain tonight. Southern Oregon. Can you confirm that have to take dry pole beans down before it freezes? You actually don't have to. So that's the thing about dry beans. So there's multiple ways you can do it, which brings me to some show and tell. So the dry beans the best way, so these are the good Mother Stallard beans. And the best way is to take them down and shell them before the frost, and pretty much right after the vine dies. That's what you want, is right after the vine dies, because the longer that the bean will stay on the vine, the more time it has to get like kind of ill looking, because they will dry out, and then it'll rain, they'll expand, and then they'll get moist, and then they'll dry out again, and then the sun. So the best way is to harvest them pretty much as soon as the pole bean is like rattly dry. Harvest them, put them in the storage, and these are going to go into the containers here, the airtight half-gallon containers pretty soon. But And that way they'll last all winter long, and you can just sprout them and then eat them at will. But another way to do it, and a way that people have done it for a long time, is you can just leave the plants on the vine, and you can just go out and get them as needed. So you don't have to get them before the frost. But it is best to get them before the frost, because they'll be better. They'll be all shriveled up, and kind of some will be dead and stuff like that if you let it go too long. So what I like to do with the beans, especially good vigorous ones that you grow yourself, I like to sprout them for about 2 days before, 2 to 3 days even, just until you begin to see the little tail poke out. And then eat them. Because when you sprout the beans, guys, listen, when you sprout the beans, it opens up, it begins a whole series of enzymatically initiated biological functions. And so the water signals to all kinds of enzymes and cofactors and vitamins and minerals. It transforms them because it says, okay, now it's go time. The plant is just sitting there. The information is contained within the bean. And it's basically a set of blueprints. The bean is a set of blueprints that tells the plant how to construct the factory that is going to then produce more of itself, which is just totally beyond human comprehension to really grasp the perfection of that when you really look at it deeply. So the blueprint here, when you put it into the water, it says, okay, it's go time. And it starts combining the elements, and it starts mixing the vitamins and the minerals, and all kinds of life processes begin to happen. And so it makes the bean a lot easier to digest. If you guys have digestive issues, as soon as you start saying beans, everyone talks about, the gas effect and all of that kind of stuff. But they're actually telling on themselves that they've got a poor gut microbiome. Because if you have gaseous effects from the beans, that's because your microbiome is not sufficiently resilient and robust in order to handle the types of fibers that are present in the beans. So that is a sign that you need to get your gut microbiome more in fighting shape. And that is going to be done with eating beans, of course, but that's also going to be done with making the raw milk kefir, which I will get to in a moment. But if you sprout the beans for a couple of days first, that will really help to eliminate that. It makes them way more digestible. So let's see. We've got the ironwort tea with some ginger and some of the raw honey from Tennessee. Thank you very much, Justin and family. I'm almost halfway through that whole thing already. Yeah. I say this every single time, and every time I act surprised, don't I? Like, oh, that's so hot. But it is shockingly hot. But that's what these big Yetis, that's what they do. They keep it unreasonably hot for just an absurd amount of time, which can be good. If you're talking for an hour and a half straight, then that's good. Let me figure out how to say this. Serenidocata says, and homemade sauerkraut helped my digestion 100%. Yes, all of the good stuff. And the sauerkraut, the kimchi, the fermented tomatoes, the fermented onions, the fermented poblano hot sauce. Serene Dakota. Okay, got it. That makes sense now. And the fermented hot sauce, all that stuff, that is all very good for the gut microbiome. And one of the big reasons for the sauerkraut and the kimchi is because it's got probiotics, yes, but it also has prebiotics. Prebiotics are not talked about enough because they're harder to get in a supplement form. Everybody says, oh, probiotics, you got to have it in your gut, which you do. It's absolutely important. I could go on and on about that. But then they want to try and sell you some supplement saying that, well, here's all of the biologically active such and such supplement, all the different strains of this and that, $197. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. But really, and you can quote me on this, nothing that you buy in the store as far as a supplement or a powder or a pill can even compare in any way to the real deal that you make yourself with the stuff that we have grown ourselves in the nutrient-rich soil, and we have made it with the love. So you're going to be making stuff like the ferments that are light years beyond supplements, probiotic supplements you can get in the store. because the prebiotics are there, and prebiotics essentially is like a fiber. It's a certain type of fiber, and it's what the biotics eat. So it's very important. And let us see what you guys talking about. Harvesting Faith says, also wondering if you can use store-bought milk kefir to start new kefir at home, like with yogurt. It is possible, but let me listen for a second about the difference. So I'm going on several months now of making the raw milk kefir every single day. And like when I do something, I'm 110% into it. So I've researched it, and I bought the best grains that I could find and all of this stuff, and I'm using the good raw milk and all of this, and I'm consuming it every single day. And so in my research, I have come to the realization that the stuff that you buy in the store, the kefir that you buy in the store, it's like the kombucha in the sense that they brew it, they make it, but then they pasteurize it, the whole thing, so that it's all dead. And then after that, they reintroduce select grains or select strains of the microorganisms so that they can say it's alive, and so that it can be alive, but not alive enough where it's going to blow the container off. Because if they tried to bottle this kefir, in 2 days, the container would explode. So that is, so they kind of have to do that. Because once you start brewing it yourself, you'll find that it becomes so pressurized, effervescent, after just like 2 days in the refrigerator, it wants to blow the top off because it's that alive. And so, yeah, you can make it like that, but you just want to get the grains. You want to get the good grains. And if you go into the description, I have now completed and began I have an Amazon storefront. So that's cool. That takes a lot of work. It's incredible how much just figuring stuff out you have to do to even get that to happen. But I have a section in there titled Fermentation Supplies, and you will see the kefir grains that I have used. And hello, Stivus Galicius. Not sure how to say that, but hello, my friend. So you can see the exact grains, and you can order those grains yourself. And then if you need to find raw milk around you, hopefully you have access to raw milk. If not, then you can go to getrawmilk.com, and it will tell you, in any country, it will tell you where the raw milk sources are around you, even if it's illegal in your state, because it's illegal to sell raw milk in Indiana as well. But it's not illegal to purchase a portion of a cow and let the Amish take care of it for you. You see? So that's what we do. We don't actually, and then we just get our raw milk for free, of course. But we have to pay them like a fee for boarding our cow, or our portion of the cow. My portion is like maybe the horn, or, well, they don't have horns, but maybe like the liver. That's my portion, is the liver. So, so that's the thing. Yes, you can make raw milk can make kefir from store-bought if it's alive enough. But like the kombucha, because I tried several times and it just doesn't work, with the kefir and the kombucha, because it's not alive enough. But if you get some kombucha from a friend, yes. But you won't be making the grains, though. It's best to just get the grains, guys. Big Wheel Dog says, Nate, would you suggest milk kefir for those who have partial bowel removal? I don't have enough experience with that exact scenario to say, but what I can say is that the raw milk kefir is unimaginably healing to the digestive system, because we have over 20 to 75, or even some figures say 100 trillion microorganisms within us. We actually have more microorganisms contained in this body than we do human tissue cells. So we are actually more community of microorganism than we are actual human tissue. And that's mind-blowing. And so that is really very important to get these things optimized. Give them what they want. Give them what we evolved and co-adapted with. And this is how they used to store milk. This is one great way they used to store milk, because as you know, raw milk goes bad quickly. It turns. But this way, they could take it across the desert in huge bladders. They could put camel milk in these huge bladders, and then they could introduce these grains, and it would last the whole trip across the desert. You can take milk that would spoil, it will spoil or turn in a couple of days, and it will last 2 to 3 months like this once it's been cultured by the grains. So you want to get that in you. So I would say yes. I mean, obviously consult your doctor about the bowel movement thing, but I would, if it were me, I would be doing everything possible to heal the gut system. Let's see here. Jason says, can I use chickens in JDOM? Similar to the fish fertilizer. Thank you for everything, brother. Yes, you're welcome, Jason. Yes, you can. You can use chickens, but it's not going to work the same. The fish is a particular type of protein, and it is broken down into the amino acids very easily and fast. And so that's why it's been used in agriculture for thousands of years. And it's very beneficial, very good for the plants. Now, the chicken also will work. Yes, of course. But it's going to take a lot longer. So I've done it with flesh. I've done it with flesh many times, and it will be rancid for a lot longer. So it will take a lot longer to digest, but it will work. Yes, you can digest a whole chicken with the leaf mold and all of that stuff, but understand that it will not work in the same speed. So good to see you, Mick. Glad you're here. Yeah, you asked about, and on the other channel, you asked about the sauna that I'm using. So I've got 2 different kinds. One indoor steam sauna, very economically priced and easy to use. And then I got the outdoor wood-fired sauna tent, which I will show you on that channel. So yes, you can use that chicken. And guys, talking about chickens, did you guys see my short video? Because not so much on YouTube, because it's mostly you guys, like my inner circle tribe that understands like homesteading lifestyle and the natural cycle of things. But I put that video out on Instagram, where now we've got 104,000 followers on Instagram as well, which is great. Although Instagram doesn't monetize. I come to find out, like, after I put so much effort into it, I was like, so when do you get paid by Instagram? And to come to realize they don't monetize. So all those people are doing stuff for just to, it's good to promote your own stuff, which, you know, I'll promote the book and the fertilizers through that kind of avenue, but it's a weird thing. But anyways, I posted that video on Instagram, and if you want to see some petty bickering stuff, go to the comment section of that video and just look, and just people just boom, 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 just totally disconnected. And you can see in the comments this how disconnected so many people are on where their food comes from. People just deeply offended that I called the chicken a thing when I was burying it and turning it into food again. And just deeply offended at the way that I put it into a shallow hole without like a ceremony. And so I'm thinking, guys, you're so deeply disconnected from where your food comes from and from what it takes to grow the food. So I have deep reverence and respect for all living things. Of course, I nurture the living things. And in my opinion and experience, that's the best way to honor the chicken, to honor the creature, again, is by turning it into food. Everyone's like, well, I would have ate that chicken. Oh, because they're so morally superior. No, because we are eating the chicken. Do you not see this? We're just passing it through the soil food web again. I buried the chicken and planted garlic on top. You can also plant squash on top. I've done this for years, guys. You can compost, you can bury any dead animal and plant something on top of it, and it helps the ecosystem. It helps. And if you dig it up after like a month, you will see tons of microorganisms and earthworms and all that kind of stuff. So it's very beneficial. And no, you don't have to worry about diseases and all that. People are they're just disconnected. That's the only thing that I can really, that's the blanket term that we will say. So yes. Let's see. Sweetly Morbid Bear says, you could have already had ceremonial grace. They don't know. Oh, absolutely. And anyone that knows me knows that I live in a state of ceremony. I move in a state of meditation, really. And so I have deep reverence and respect for all living beings and the cycle of things. So, because they didn't, but they're used to like movies. Maybe they saw Avatar and they expected a big, thank you, brother. I mean, big outward showy ceremony where see how ceremoniously I'm doing it. No, that's still the ego, guys. That's still, that doesn't mean really anything energetically. You have to know what the heart is saying. And so people can have a big ceremony, see how ceremonious and respectful I'm being, without it being real. So the realness doesn't need a big showy ceremony all the time. Tushi G, good to see you here again, my friend. I think it's been a while. Says, it doesn't matter what we eat. Something must die for us to live. But whatever dies grows something anew. Absolutely. It is a cycle. It is an endless cycle of death and life. The most natural thing that there is in the world of life is death, of course. Sweetly Morbid says, love hearing this side of you. Oh, that's wonderful. Then you can join us on the Thrive Like a Viking channel. We talk about this and we get much deeper into all kinds of wonderful subjects. So let's see. VA Green, everything and everyone is part of the cycle, like it or not. Yeah, we can never escape the one. We are all within. So Ken Harrison says, Nate, you're cracking me up. Yeah. Oh, with the ceremonious thing. Yeah. How many people do you know that, like, if I was an Instagram, like if I was that kind of Instagrammer, I'd put on a bunch of beads and a big costume and prayer beads and a bunch of rings and all that stuff. And maybe I'd have cool tattoos and then I would give a ceremony and I would make sure that all those cameras are on me though, during the ceremony, that's for sure. And then, oh yes, you see how respectful I'm being. Where in their heart, it's just fake. So, Spinster says, my dog found a dried out fox carcass this morning. Should I put that in the garden? She's pretty fond of it. Yeah, I would probably keep it from her, but you can, absolutely. Guys, how's the sound? Is it, last week it was super quiet. Is it loud enough now? You can compost anything, guys. Any creature is good for the compost. Now, ideally, you'll put it into a hot compost, yes. But you can also compost in place. If you bury something, then you can, but bury it deep. Bury it, 3 feet or so. And then so that there's like a foot or so, 6 inches to a foot of soil between the carcass and the whatever plant you're going to be planting. Okay, thank you, Alexander. He says sound is super good. So you want to make sure that there's enough space. You don't bury it and then plant the thing directly on top of it. That's it tends to rot that way. So yeah, Sweetly Morbid says you'd have to dig deep with that fox. Yeah, you would. So you will need to pretty much hot compost it. That's really the best way. If you guys, what's the guy's name? I'm pretty sure it's Joel. I'm not sure if it's Joel. I think it is Joel. Salatine that does the composting of the entire cow. When they have a it's either him or one of his buddies, I forget exactly, but when they have an entire cow on their farm or a huge hog that dies, they will compost the whole thing by burying it in a mountain of wood chips until the whole thing is composted. He says there's no smell, there's no anything. Now, I've never done a whole cow or a whole hog yet. I will once we get the land. I'll be doing all that kind of stuff once the animals come. But I have done it on a much smaller scale, meaning chickens and certain other animals. Lots of rats. And it works perfectly fine. Yeah. Lee Starr says, we'll have the ceremony after the garlic grows. Yeah, really. I mean, it's about growing food. But a lot of, yeah. Taida, hello, my friend, says, late today, down for a rest with a back injury. Lost track of time, but happy to be here. Sound is good today. All right, good. Glad you're here, my friend. Jerry Bates, the whole concept of preservation has a profound effect on our culture. It shaped our world for the worst. Yes, yes, yes. Preservation. It has a deep effect on our culture, deeply. And Mick says people anthropomorphize the chicken and then relate it to how they are afraid that no one will be there for their death. That, my friend, is the root of the issue. That is exactly the root. I wasn't going to go that deep on this channel with it, although we do on the Thrive channel, but that's exactly what they're doing. And they can't separate that. They can't separate, that from reality. Scarecrow Valley says, everything that is organic has life at a low level. Yes, absolutely. We can see that when we look to the natural world, the amount of life that is present in a place is always in direct proportion to the amount of death and decay that has happened. It's like an equation or like a cycle. I mean, you can see it, you can observe it. Life comes from the death and decay. So it's never really dead. It's always life. It's just life on the opposite swing of the pendulum or on the other side of the circle. Because there is only life, ultimately. And Lisa T says, this chat is vibrant. Yes, definitely. Okay, PA, yes. Says Joel Salatine, compost in wood chips. Yes, so that is the one I was talking about. Now, he's doing it with whole animals. I mean, big animals. Do it with any animal. Let's see here. Creative Soil says, I'm learning crop planning now. Any video suggestions? Crop planning, well, watch the video that I made. One of the very first videos on the channel said, what should I grow? It's like one of the first 5 videos or something. What should I grow? Planning your survival garden. And I just go through and I talk about the if this kind of garden Viking or gardening like a Viking is basically food security gardening. We focus first on calories and then storage capabilities, nutrient density, things like this. We don't think about, because so many people, when they have a garden, I will go there and I will see they've got 8 different kinds of lettuces and they've got like 10 different kinds of herbs and then they've got like some kale and then and I'm like, okay, well, this is great. That's all good. But where is the food? The calories. When I say that, I mean calories. Where's the calories? Because you're not going to survive on those herbs and that lettuce. So, yes, Jerry, definitely need to fence off the composting of the animals because critters will be interested. So the thing that you want to focus on is the calories, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the winter squash. Yes? Guys, you know how much food is here? You remember this bad boy? You know how much food is in one of these things? And it stores all winter long, guys, because it is very, very packed with vitamins and minerals. This is the Tahitian melon squash. And even though I accidentally broke off the top, it's still going to store for several months, but I'll eat this one probably next. But ideally, you want them to be like this. This is what you want them to be like, so that you want the stem neck left on like that. And you see how thick these things are? I mean, I feel like this is probably 30 pounds between the two, or maybe even more. And this is pretty much all food. These Tahitian squash, they have a small cavity right here with the seeds, about the same size as butternut. But then this whole neck is all solid butternut, flavored type stuff, except sweeter. Packed full of good minerals, enzymes, cofactors, all kinds of good stuff that we need. And what's amazing it's taken me a lifetime of studying all of this kind of stuff and experiencing and observing in order to understand. But the amazing part is that the storage crops have the nutrients that we need the most during the winter months. Yes. So these are ideal to eat during the winter. It's how nature, the cycles of things, how perfect it is. And so these will store all winter, and they've got loads of the beta-carotene and loads of the good minerals that we need. I used to be able to ramble off exactly what minerals was in it, but I forget at the moment. I'll brush up on it. But it doesn't matter. Just understand that it's packed with the good stuff. And so come up with different ways to use it, and it stores all winter. So this is what you want to Carol Vance says, wow, that's bigger than your head. Yeah, I know. Yep, and that means it's big. The only head that I've seen that's bigger than mine was Pinball. When I went to see Pinball, guys, I only knew him through videos. And then when I met him in person, I got out of the car and I was like, hey, what? The dude is like almost 7 feet tall. I mean, he's like 6'8" or 9", and his head is actually bigger than mine, which is incredible. So, yeah, that's just the shocking, and I was like, what? The whole time I was tripping out on it. I couldn't hardly like focus on what we were doing because I was just shocked. Because in my mind, for some reason, he was like shorter than me. He was like 5'8" or something, 5 foot, not 7 feet. But yeah, so this is going to be really good for the storage and to eat all winter long. Now, you're going to focus on like dried beans because look, these will stay good all winter long. And they've got the life force just waiting within them. So you can sprout them and you can grow them next year, of course. But they're alive, which is very good. And let me see here. Kip Tap, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, keep the experiments growing and the sharing of the experience flowing. Oh, beautiful. Well, guess what? That's exactly what I will do. So thank you very much. Okay, so is it enough with this? Now, the next thing, so we've got the beans and we've got the squash, but now the next thing that's going to be really good to grow is going to be the corn. Guys, all indigenous cultures in all of the Americas grew corn. And when we're talking about corn, we don't mean sweet corn, and we don't mean corn syrup, and we don't mean dextrose, and we don't mean corn syrup solids that's all in a bunch of stuff. We mean real field corn that dries and stores all winter long. This is the glass gem corn. Now there's a tremendous amount of food in corn, calories, energy, because when you get the corn plant is so packed in there, it's perfectly packed as tight as it can get, those kernels. And so when it's grown properly and densely, corn is one of the highest calorie per acre of all of the crops. And so we're gonna use the Vitamixer. If you have a mill, then that's great. You can use that as well. But we're just gonna use the Vitamixer, and it pulverizes this stuff into a powder. And I will make it with grits. Yes, we had the debate about sweet grits versus savory grits and all that. So I am not personally I'm an expert on grits, on how I like them. But this northern culture doesn't eat grits like the South does. So yeah, this is what, and then I'll also make Johnny cakes with it and all other kinds of stuff. Cornbread. Even though in the North, we mix flour with our cornbread. It's actually mostly flour. But during my trip to Tennessee recently, I kind of my mind was blown when she said she only uses corn in the cornbread and other ingredients, but no flour. I said, okay, well, I need to up my game on the cornbread for sure. So yeah, corn is a wonderful thing. Here's the glass gem, and here's the good mother Stollards. So let me set these down. Let's see here. Mick says, we're supposedly 5AB, but we have not had a frost yet. We haven't had a frost yet either, which is crazy. And we have a threat of one Sunday night, but then other than that, it's going to be another week before we get one. So yeah, Hans Ketchup says, don't eat grits. Say it ain't so. It's just not a cultural thing here in the North, even though we're surrounded by oceans of corn. It's all garbage corn. It's all GMO, stuff they make corn syrup out of, stuff that they make dextrose out of, anything that you see that has corn syrup or any of the other different ways that they disguise the corn. It is all this kind of stuff. And we can't eat it like that. You can't just grind this corn up and eat it. It's something else entirely. So check out Joel, or not Joel, who's the Carnivore MD? You know who I'm talking about, Carnivore MD. And yes, also ethanol, Sean, that's correct. But he had a short recently where he describes how the citric acid, I think it is, citric acid is made from GMO corn. I didn't understand. I didn't know that. And then I had to research it a little bit, and it's true. So when you see things, it's like, oh, I got a little bit of citric acid in there just as a preservative, and you're just thinking lime juice or lemon juice. No, it's derived in some way, some bizarre process from GMO corn. So it's everywhere, guys. It's a full-on onslaught from all directions as far as the chemicals in the food and all of that stuff. Val says, hey, Nate, my pole beans are still green on the vine. Should I pick before first frost, then dry inside? You can, or you can just let the frost kill them. They're hardy. So if you have enough, experiment, and you will see the difference. So pick some now, and then, or pick some right before the frost, and then let some go and be killed by the frost, and then dry. And then experience the difference yourself. You'll see that there's a difference in quality. So, if it's right about that time, 1 week isn't going to make that big of a difference. So you can go ahead and harvest them before the frost. That's probably what I would do, is harvest them before the frost. Yerba mate, guys. I consume tons of this stuff. It is wonderful because it has the amino acids in it, and it has the theobromine and the theophylline, I believe it is, that work in synergy with a natural form of caffeine to give you a really grounded and holistically sense of well-being. The yerba mate, it's way better than coffee as far as what it does to the central nervous system and all of the other health benefits along with it, and the chlorophyll. So if you guys want to know the exact kind that I get, there is, in my Amazon storefront, you will see a section that says food items, and all the food items that I use is going in there, and you'll see the type that I like. It's not super expensive, but it's a good one. And I've tried so many different kinds. And you don't really gain anything by getting the really expensive craft stuff because it comes from like a massive tree. And so it's, although I don't know exactly how it's made because I've not been to the Amazon or I've not seen this plant, it just doesn't matter that much. So the one that is in the Amazon storefront is the best bang for the buck, definitely. And yes, Oxam's razor scooter. Yes, I think the vitamin C is made from black mold, which excretes ascorbic acid as it grows. Maybe it's grown on the corn. Yes, ascorbic acid different than the citric acid. Yes, the black mold is how they get the citric acid. So, Big Wes, what's up, my friend? Yes, I see you backing me up in the comments there on some of the Instagram things. I see you. I appreciate that. Big West says, I grew the best cannabis I could have ever dreamed of. Thanks for teaching me the liquid fertilizers and all the amazing things. That's what we like to hear, my friend. And that's a very unique plant in the sense that it responds so well to different levels of care. You can neglect it, and you'll have a neglected type of experience when you consume it psychologically. Is back when I used to be really into this plant, of course. I knew this. Over years of growing in Northern California, I was so in tune with how the effect is so different. It's so different when the plant experiences love and the good energy, the good vibrations. That's what it gives you, a really grounded, holistic feeling. But yeah, I don't even need the plant medicine anymore. So it's been several years, which is a wonderful feeling. I never thought I would be saying that, actually. Let's see here. Yerba mate, yes. Natalie Dumont says, question, Nate. I harvested my Good Mother Stoller beans and let them dry and let them in the pods to dry. Now they are very dry, but the pods have some mildew spots. Should I throw the beans away? Feel so bummed. No, absolutely not. That is very common. Yeah, that is the common, that is very common. So no, you just shell them as normal, and then you rinse them before you use. So if you sprout them, then you're rinsing them like 5 to 10 times throughout the sprouting process. So just make sure you rinse them really well and everything will be fine. That is not a problem. Do not throw them away. Now, if you see the beans and the beans have mold on them or they're dead, then yes, you throw those ones out. But my prediction is that you will shell those and 95% of them will be just fine. And let's see. P. Morton says, the wood vinegar and bone meal has allowed my tomato plants to hang on so far. Tomatoes in pots were not very healthy this season. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, tomatoes love the earth. They really love the earth. Big time. But here's the thing, guys. Here's an experiment. Mad Dog, I'll tell you in a second. Mad Dog says, you still doing the kefir? Yeah, I'm getting into it. Good. Yes, definitely. We just had a big old long talk about kefir. So check that out. Once we're done, rewind it, and you will see the kefir. And what was I just going to talk about? Oh, yes. Okay, so, you know, I had lots of experimentations this year, and as far as I'm creating the Viking nutrients for you guys, the granular fertilizer, and it has done really well with so many things. We have the Swiss chard, which is really nice and vibrant and growing very well. Look at how healthy the Swiss chard is, guys. It's just, I love this stuff. See, there's a couple holes, but remember, we don't get hung up on that because a lot of people will see even just a few holes and think that they have a pest problem and that they have to spray it with something. And you only want to spray if you have to. So even this level of hole right there, I'm not getting concerned about that at all. I mean, this has never been sprayed with anything. I actually didn't spray the garden with anything this year. I didn't have to. Now there is some pressure on the cabbages right now, definitely. But I'm just wanting to let it go. You know, I'm just wanting to let it go and see. It's still mostly just fine. So this is going to be full of all kinds of vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And you can tell by the colors, the deep, rich pigments. Those are all phytonutrients, small nutrients that the body needs in, important nutrients that the body needs in only in small quantities. But so we can saute this or we can juice this. And that is going to be extremely good for us, guys. Lots of vitamins, minerals, life force, energy, all this good stuff. And so when the plant has everything it needs, there's like 30 of these on each. I only have 2 plants, and they're really coming into their own right now. So they are loving life. And yeah, we can see by that color. This is the Vulcan Swiss chard. It is a cousin of the beets and a cousin of the rhubarb. That's what it was. Yeah, rhubarb. So yeah, this is pretty much what you want, and don't get hung up about the holes in it. But if you turn it around back, that's what you do. When you go to a plant, you want to turn it around back, and you want it to see that, because that's where the pest is usually hiding. And you don't see any big colonies of anything. You don't see any big webs or any kind of big hangouts of pest creatures. You just see really beautiful veins and all that. See how intricate those little veins are? They look like lungs, don't they? I mean, in a way they are. They're breathing the air. So it's just incredible. I mean, our best technology, the absolute best technology that we have could never even come close to doing something like this, to self-replicating in this way. Just combining the elements and creating this thing that will then nourish this body. You know, we're taking this solar energy and then consuming it, and we are solar powered in that way. And we are getting energy from that. And it's all just soil. This is just soil rearranged in a different way. And we eat it, and we are therefore the soil rearranged in different ways, combined with the air and the water and using the power of the sun. This is what I see when I see the plants. I mean, I see this totality of the cycle and how perfect it is. So, yeah, just thought I would tell you that. Now we will. I want to show you something else in a few minutes. Yes. Scarecrow Valley says, I had only a few bugs and they were good bugs. Good. Better Still 100 says, loving this today. Yes, we're having a good chat today, definitely. Natalie says, what about the high amounts of oxalic acid? I just read a very eye-opening book about it. It's cumulative toxicity. Yeah, guys, about the oxalates. Now, 5 years ago, no one was talking about oxalates. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, definitely nobody was talking about oxalates. Okay. Oh, Alexander says you didn't continue the story about tomatoes in the buckets. Okay, I will continue that in a moment. But let me talk first about the oxalates, because there's a real big push right now about how green plants contain oxalates, and the oxalates are slowly tearing up the immune system, or tearing up the digestive system, and that they've got plant defense chemicals in them, and so that they don't want to be eaten, and so therefore there's defense chemicals in these that are then going to make the predator ill, or whatever is consuming them. So I understand this on a theoretical level, but guys, there's just no way that you could ever convince me in any way. I don't care what book is out. I don't care what it is so totally contrary to my experience personally and throughout the world, traveling throughout the world and seeing more indigenous type cultures. And there is nothing you could ever tell me that would convince me that consuming something like this is going to be detrimental to the body. Now, in huge quantities, maybe, but in my opinion, it is blown way out of proportion, the oxalate damage and all of this. And I'm very much considering getting the book, because I need to be able to I need to have more into that conversation so that I can contribute more of that. But so there's just no way that anyone could tell me that that the oxalates are going to be detrimental, because I've seen cultures that are growing food like this and have grown like that for thousands of years, and like the hill tribes in northern India and stuff, and the people in Thailand and all these places where this is very much a part of their diet. Greens are wonderful for the body. They are wonderful for the body. And they eat them all the time in Asian cultures, and Asian cultures are way healthier than the American culture is, for sure. And so you just have to take it for face value. Now, that being said, it's anyone that tries to tell you, in my opinion, anyone that tries to tell you only one way or another is misguided, and that they have a huge bias for some way. So, okay, plants are toxic. Now, we only eat animals, okay? So guys, that's lopsided as well. Now, it's also lopsided. Okay, we're only going to go vegan. We're never going to eat anything that comes from an animal. It's only plants. Well, okay, the human body can adapt. The human body can eat either pure carnivore or pure vegan for some time, but that's not optimal. Being the omnivore type, we are meant to eat a wide variety of different things. And especially to eat with the seasons. And so that is my opinion on the oxalates. And this whole the whole conversation is like a modern world manufactured dilemma, in the fact that, that there's all this food, there's so much food that we don't even know what kind of food to eat anymore, as opposed to our ancestors that were eating what was available. And they were very robust. And proof that they were robust is that you are here. So I will put this down now. I think that I've put that to rest. Now, the tomatoes in the buckets, Alexander's question. So tomatoes can survive in buckets. Yes. People grow things in buckets all the time, but that is not what they want. The plants want to be in the ground. So only if you have to grow tomatoes or something in containers do I recommend that. Only if you have to grow anything in containers do I recommend that. But the tomato wants the earth because of the connection with the earth, and it wants to spread out its roots, and it wants to have the ability to draw up the nutrients and the moisture that it wants when it wants it, and to develop the relationship with the microorganisms. It wants all of that. And so when we grow the tomatoes in the buckets, Now, I've seen a lot of people, because I've said this for years, no, tomatoes do best in the ground, definitely. And people are like, I grow tomatoes in 5-gallon buckets and they're just fine. And I say, okay, well, let me see them. Send me a picture or something. And I see, and I'm like, okay, well, your just fine is obviously different than mine, because I would call that just surviving. I would not call that like thriving or bursting with life. I would not call that, you're not crushing it growing tomatoes in buckets, okay? So I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And the tomato wants the earth. So then once you grow them in the earth, you will see that they get, huge, and you'll get big old fat tomatoes that are juicy and got all the flavor and the nutrients that they need. If you make like the Cherokee purple tomatoes, the Amish paste tomato, the Roma, the purple bumblebee tomato, yes. And so all of those things are better grown in the ground. Now, yes, you can grow them in buckets, but that's not what they want because of the confined root space. Yes? So, let's see. Kimberly says, that's the truth. Only people who have nothing better to worry about. Yeah, that's really what it is. When people are talking about the oxalate damage and all that stuff, and this is nothing against you guys. I understand that if you believe in the oxalate thing and you subscribe to that, that's perfectly fine. My friend Rachel on here, Successful Garden Design, she is going down the line of the oxalate damage bandwagon, and that's perfectly fine, because here's the thing. Here's the best part, is that she's experimenting. She's finding out for herself if that's true or not, because maybe for her, it is true in some way. So maybe her health will improve in some way. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, well, this person or this book said this or that, so that's gospel. That's what it is. Well, okay, that's a good starting point, but experiment yourself. And so I've experimented extreme over the years. When I do something, I go 110% into it. And that's how I find out. And over the years, I have found the balance, finally. But the balance is whole food in as close to its natural state as possible, with zero chemicals, as little chemicals as possible. And so, VA Green says, remember when eggs were what was killing everybody? Right. And butter. So we switched to margarine instead. All these clever little marketing campaigns you have to look at who's backing the research and all of that kind of stuff. Over the years, I've seen it's all a farce, man. It's all a joke. And so what we can do is fall back on what feels right, because we're relying on the intelligence of the organism. The organism knows exactly what it needs to sustain itself. And so the ultimate way that I have found is the food in as close to its natural state as possible, grown with thriving soil, in nutrient-rich soil, grown with love, harvested with the love. Then you're going to have stuff like this. And this is going to be full of all kinds of minerals and nutrients that the body needs. And you're going to have this, which is also full of all of these minerals and nutrients. But then we're also going to eat meat. Of course, I eat plenty of meat, lots. But until we get the land and we start raising it ourselves, I have to source it from the best sources possible. And so I've been super impressed with Jerry's beef. Oh my goodness, that beef is incredible. Even the ground beef is just so tender and flavorful. And I know that it's 100% pastured, only on organic land, pastured land. And so all of that kind of stuff matters. And the eggs, where you get your eggs, matters big time, because you can see the difference between commercial eggs and their tiny little if you have your own chickens that eat like mostly free range and stuff, that eat a lot of varied diet, and you'll go to crack those eggs, and it's like you really got to give it some force, to crack those egg shells, because they're so full of calcium, and they've got that deep, rich flavor and the deep, rich yolk, and the dark orange color of the yolk comes from the varied diet. But then you'll go to like get one from the store. And you'll take it and you'll like try to crack it, and it's like made of tissue paper. I almost just the whole thing just cracks because I'm used to these hard eggs. So when I go to some place and they've just got commercially store bought from Walmart white eggs, it's like they're made of tissue paper and no flavor. That all directly correlates to the nutrient density of the food. So this is what we're talking about. You are what you eat, but you also are what you eat eats. This is very important. Okay. Risia Rama says, Nate, you are not a joke. You be the tried and tested love energy. Thank you. That's very kind, my friend. Thank you for recognizing that. Let's see. Kimberly says, where I'm at, we are just getting into our growing season. How wonderful, guys, because we are just out of it here. But we're going to be growing indoors. The mushrooms are just starting to fruit, so I'll be having that video coming probably next week. VA Green says, the human body has had tens of thousands of years to adapt to eating natural foods that were available to it, not processed foods. This is the root of the issue, guys, is the sense that the human body never adapted or evolved to deal with these toxins that we have now in the modern world. It takes thousands of years for evolutionary adaptation to make changes in something. And so evolutionarily, I mean, this organism is still the Neolithic type organism. We still function, definitely still that tribal, that just all of our systems are so foreign in this world now that we're living in. And so the ability of the body to process the toxins is not very good. And so therefore we store the toxins in our fat cells, in the lymph system, and it becomes cancer, it becomes diabetes, it becomes heart disease, and all of the main killers of Americans, we'll say, I'm just saying about all the Western world, are not things that you catch. Think of this, guys. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular disease, you don't catch those things. Those are things you develop over time. And so it's, PA says, so no candy bars, ice cream, and Oreos? Yeah, not exactly. Creative Soil says, I love raw beef. Oh man, I eat that raw beef liver all the time. Brian says, go back and look at how your grandparents ate. Yeah, pretty much. If it wasn't available as food 100 years ago, don't eat it now. Lisa T, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, thank you, Nate. Yes, you are welcome. P. Morton says, my purple tomatoes and buckets never ripen to purple. The pest got to them first, unfortunately. About to take some cuttings to try again next year. Okay. And that can have to do with many things, heat and all kinds of other things. So, but also the buckets, they're just not going to get what they want. If you guys have been growing tomatoes in buckets for years or something, now try them in thriving soil next year. So, but you have to prepare it now in many ways that you see on the channel. Then, and you grow them in the ground, you will see the difference. And you say, wow, there's no comparison to the flavor and the vigorousness. S. Moss, good to see you here, my friend, says, Nate, do you top dress your veggies 2 times a month for your thriving veggies? No, absolutely. 2 times a month? Never. No, I don't. Actually, the nutrients, look, I'll show you. The nutrients that I did at time of planting, and that's it. The tomatoes at my mom's house, because they're in huge bags that get watered and they kind of leach out, I did top dress 1 time during the season. But other than that, just time of planting, guys. But look what happens. Look at this beet. So when you let them go too long, then they kind of get like a little bit disfigured. So this is going to be a good juice. So we're going to juice this beet. This is one of the Cylindra beets. And you can see here it's nice and thick and fibrous maybe now. It's too big to eat fresh because it will be kind of tough, but it's going to be wonderful to juice. This thing's huge, guys. It's very heavy. I didn't top dress at all. Now I just did it at time of planting, and that's all that it should really need. And then the only things that I really used were the aerated compost teas, which I will get much more into next year for you guys. But I'm not really making videos right now. If you didn't realize, I'm not making like full length videos because they've just done something is up with the algorithm where just the last like 5 full length videos I've made are just terrible, just no exposure. So I'm just gonna not make them for a while and just make a few shorts and do the lives, I guess. Which is fine because there is so much stuff I got going on right now that's perfectly fine. So. Freebird says, LOL, I had some beets like that this year, look like an alien. Yeah, I know. They are really incredibly. Most of them look about like that, but then that side split is something else entirely. But this is going to be a great juice. We just made a great juice last night. So good, so delicious. We use most of the greens. And so this is the kind of stuff that you get, guys, where I didn't spray these with any pesticides, not even the JDOM stuff. See how they're cousins of one another? You see the similarities in the leaves? This is a beet, just not, it's in the same family. But this is just thriving soil. And I didn't use any JDOM stuff really. Just the aerated compost teas, the special recipes that I use. And the Viking nutrients on some of the stuff, but some of the stuff I didn't even use the Viking nutrients. This I did. But yeah, so that's what is possible with the soil food web. And so, no, it doesn't have anything to do with electroculture, that's for sure. Did you guys notice how that whole electroculture thing sort of died down this year? I think it's because enough people realized that it's kind of a farce. It's kind of a farce. Yes, I said it. But it's been my experience. I mean, I pretty much knew that to begin with, but I had to test it out. To know for sure. But we tested it thoroughly, and now we know for sure. Because I didn't notice, nothing whatsoever. Not even the slightest bit of anything happened when those antennas were in the ground. And I'm very in tune with what's happening to the plant. I mean, I can tell the difference, guys. And this might sound crazy, but I spent so much time reading the plants in Northern California. I fine-tuned my skills. I can tell the difference between when I apply a compost tea that doesn't have the fish fertilizer in it and one that does have the fish fertilizer in it. How different the plants respond to that the next day. You can see it. You can just feel it in the way that the plant looks and the way that its colors and the way it orients to the sun. All these different things. So the plants will always tell you what you need or what they need. And when I put those antennas on the ground, absolutely nothing happened whatsoever. Not even the slightest change. So Taida, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Every day and every way. It's getting better all the time. That's right, my friend. That is right. And she's talking about the stuff that we talk about on Thrive Like a Viking, which is working with the subconscious mind, improving our life situation, and realizing the peace that is within all the time. So Big Will Dog says, soil prep question. Nate, I have finished compost as well as partially finished. Which should I put on top of the other over winter? Well, it's not going to be a huge difference because I actually don't like to put compost on in the fall time because compost doesn't really need to break down. So I would put the unfinished compost in there more so because it doesn't really need to break down that much. Compost is very already bioavailable. So if you have limited quantities of it, the best way to use it is to save it and then in the springtime use it right at the time of planting. That's what you want to do. So that would be the best use of it. Now, if you have a bunch of compost, then go ahead and apply it. And it won't really matter because it's going to decompose over the wintertime. So ideally, you would put to directly answer the question, then if I had 2 kinds of compost, I would put the unfinished in the bottom directly on the soil and then the finished on top. If you want to do it that way, that's how I would do it. So, let's see. You guys are talking about PA. Be more careful after hearing about your experience. What are we talking about? Yes, Freebird says, I'm already excited for next year's garden, getting to use Nate's recipes from the beginning of the year. Yes, it will be great. And remember, guys, it starts right now. It starts now because don't just leave that soil exposed all winter long. You want to have either a cover crop or fertility adding, but no matter what, the soil has to be covered. So cover it with deciduous leaves, with straw if you need to. Manures. Now is the great time to put manures. Fresh manure doesn't matter. Whatever kind of manure you can get, so long as it's free from the grazon, of course, you have to make sure. But that is ideal to use. Yes. See, Big West concurs. He says, put the unfinished under the finished. The cooler top will host fungal development and the heat will be under the pile where you want it. Yes. Oh, was he talking about a pile? I thought he was talking about putting it on the soil right now. If you're talking about a pile, it's still the same. It's still the same. Look to Nature says, greetings, tribe. Sorry I missed the live. Birthday parties and clouds over here in Pennsylvania. I'm leaf hounding like crazy. Can't wait to rewatch. Leaf hounding, yeah, definitely. It's almost that time, although we don't have much weeds right now, or leaves right now. They have not fallen yet. P. Morton says, I'm letting the weeds run up for now. Is there an LOL after that? Because, I mean, yeah, that works. It's better than nothing, but man, if you let them weeds go to seed, then it will become an issue for you. Oksam's Razor says, I've heard that the appearance of powdery mildew is related to low nutrient availability, or that it could even be a seed-borne pathogen. What do you think? Well, the powdery mildew is around all the time. It's already in the soil. It's everywhere. And so only when the conditions are right will it spawn. So there are certain plants that are more susceptible to it than others. And it has to do with the conditions. And so, but there's certain things that you can plan for. So for example, cucumbers get them very, very easily. And so I will plant cucumbers in succession. Every 3 weeks for about the first 2 months of summer, you can plant cucumbers. And then terminate once the ones start producing, terminate the other ones before they catch all the mildew and stuff. Another thing is that I have noticed that the Georgia Southern collard greens, get powdery mildew late season, no matter what. Even if I replant them, they still will get the powdery mildew. Replant them in a different spot, it doesn't matter. They'll still get the powdery mildew once the time in the season is here. So I will apply some of the labs with the Jadam wetting agent, and that will take care of it. But that's not like the cure for it. You have to figure out what is happening. So what I do now is I grow instead the Vates collards, because the Vates collards don't get, for some reason, they're growing right next. I got the Vates collards, Georgia Southern, Vates collards, Georgia Southern, like that, because I wanted to know for sure, because I've been observing this the past few years. And now I know for sure the Vates collards don't get the powdery mildew, whereas the Georgia Southern collards directly next to them always get the powdery mildew. So the way I'm going to solve that is I'm not going to grow the Georgia Southerns anymore, even though I have for several years and they're delicious. But the Vates, man, you can't lose with that. So powdery mildew is a thing where the plant just gets tired. So I don't know if it's low nutrient availability, but this year I had very little powdery mildew on anything, just those collards really, because I was using the special aerated teas. I would do that pretty much once a week. I was doing it like on Sundays. And so I would Sunday nights or Monday nights, and I would foliar overhead. And so it was drenching everything, and it was crowding out. It was preventing the pathogens, the powdery mildew from taking hold and gaining dominance. And this is important. Yes, VA Green says, I sprayed the powdery mildew on my plants last year with 1 ounce of hydrogen peroxide to the gallon of water. Took repeated treatments, but seemed to work. Yeah, there's treatments you can do for it. Definitely. The peroxide works. The labs works. I don't use peroxide for that kind of thing because it's not. The labs and the wetting agent are also fertilizers. They're potassium fertilizers, and they're also the lactic acid bacteria serum. And so they're going to help the soil. They're going to build the soil. They're going to feed the plant as well. So it's a dual purpose sort of natural pesticide and foliar feeding. So that's really ideal. That's why I don't use hydrogen peroxide. And I've had some bad experiences with hydrogen peroxide. I've really destroyed plants back in the day with hydrogen peroxide. Man, we had powder in Northern California. We had powdery mildew, and this is before it became, legal. You know what I mean, mainstream and all that stuff. They used to call us outlaw legacy growers. Camel cowboy type. And so this is before you had to take it to a testing center and all of that. Your plants to have it tested to see what you used on it and all that kind of stuff. This was when it was just like, old school. And we'll say. And so a couple of our indoor runs, because we're growing in these homemade sheds in the redwoods, deep in the redwoods, and all winter long in Humboldt County, it's pouring down rain and it's foggy. And so it was like, were you in Humboldt area? Yes, I was. Garberville area, way outside of Garberville in the mountains. And in Humboldt, it rains all winter long. And so I used to use the analogy, it was like trying to have a popsicle stand in the desert. And so we're trying to grow this plant that's very sensitive to humidity in the redwoods, which drinks fog. I mean, that's why the redwoods grow so big, is because the fog is there every day. And so we would have powdery mildew all over the place. And so there were times, man, where we used to, some unscrupulous behavior also happened, with some of the chemicals that we would have to use and that was when I first was beginning. But then there were some times that we got this bright idea. We heard from some place that if you make a big tote of water and you put in all this hydrogen peroxide, then you can dunk the plants, because the plants were covered in powdery mildew. I mean, covered. They were like white in powdery mildew. But you're looking at this whole crop, and we have 4 of these indoor bays. And there's just no way that you can, we'll just scrap it. No, you have to make that work in some way. So we would cut them down. We were dunking them in this hydrogen peroxide solution and stuff, trying to get all this powdery mildew off of it. And then we were hanging them, and blasting the huge dehumidifiers, the 4000s. Get the dehumidifiers in there. We had a 75,000 watt diesel generator. It was just crazy. And but then that didn't work. It burned. It bleached all of the buds, all of the flowers. Everything bleached as it was hanging. And over the next couple days, as it was drying, I was just became more and more horrified, because the whole crop was bleached. It was just a nightmare. So that's how you learn stuff, And so after that experience, I never touched hydrogen peroxide on plants ever again. So, let's see. Dread says, glad I never used chems. Now what would you change from then? Oh man, my growing styles evolved so much, because I was there about 7-10 years like that in Humboldt. And in the beginning, we were using all the chemicals and the Eagle 20 and the Forbid and stuff like that. We were just using Grow More, for the fertilizer, and Eagle 20 to keep the powdery mildew out, but toxic. I used to wear an Israeli gas mask when I would go, from the Army surplus store, when I would spray this stuff, because it was so toxic. And anywhere that the skin was, it would burn on the skin. And so I would have a huge duster, and I would just look, and I'd be spraying these crops with this stuff. But I didn't think anything of it at the time, because I didn't understand any of this stuff, how the chemicals and how nature works and all of this. So over the years of observing and then having more and more responsibility in the grow operation, until the last handful of years, the last 4 years, I was the head grower on the whole thing. I was the head grower. And so it all came down to me to make sure that everything was grown in the highest quality possible, and the weight as well. And so over these years, I just saw the differences and reading and observing the plants. So the last few years, everything was totally different. We were basically foliage Dom. And among the aerated compost teas, it was all basically organic. And we didn't have to use any of the Eagle 20. We didn't have to use any of the other harsh, the Grow More, none of that kind of stuff, because the JDOM practices and the compost and the aerated compost teas and some other of the stuff that we use, many of the other stuff. But yeah, so that's what I would do differently, and that's what I did do differently. But the beginning, the first handful of years, was a joke as far as just chemicals everywhere, man. Look to Nature says, and then you'd smoke that crop? I wouldn't. This is the mind-blowing part, guys, is that when we were growing out there, in the beginning, the chemical growers, they don't even smoke their own stuff. They have a few select plants that are grown just with water and compost, basically, that they would smoke themselves because they know how toxic it is. Instead, all that stuff went out into the States. Just thousands and thousands of pounds went out into the States, and nobody has any idea. So you guys were the ones smoking that stuff, and we weren't the only ones doing that. Everybody was doing that. Thousands of different grows were all doing that. So yeah. Dredd says, we used to say it tastes like chems back in the day. Yeah, because it was. Not only was it sprayed with it, but it was grown with chems. This is also how I came into the knowledge and the understanding that a plant is an expression of the soil. So if it's grown with chemicals, it will have not only the chemical constituents, but it will give a chemical effect, a very unnatural, artificial type effect, as opposed to if it's grown with the soil food web connected to the earth. It gives a grounding, natural effect. It's that different. That's why that plant taught me so many things back in the day. So I don't know what got me started on all that, but I don't talk about those times very much. Except with you guys, of course, because it feels relevant. Yes, Big West says, after hearing you tell about how the mycorrhizae feed the redwoods and travel food miles to the leaves through root networks, I always wanted to see redwoods, but now I have to see them. Mind-blowing channel, folks. Yes, oh man, when you see them, oh my goodness, the redwoods, the amount of living life that is just unbelievable. I spent so much time with these redwoods. It changed my life. I mean, it totally changed I was living in the redwood grove with these trees that are 1,500 years old, 2,000 years old, and that are just, you just hear them creak in the wind, and they're so huge, and they're just, the roots go down, and you just can't even imagine. We were right on a place called Avenue of the Giants, and that is, yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. These are old growth forest, which is just mind-blowing. And yeah, the Yurok Indians in that area, they would tell me, this one guy in particular told me that their ancient knowledge, they knew that the salmon was the reason, or one of the reasons, that the redwoods could grow so big, is because the salmon would spawn and they would run up into the rivers, and millions of them die in those rivers, because after they spawn, they die and they decompose. And it would be the mycorrhizal fungi that would transport those fish proteins up to miles inland to the redwoods. And that's, boom, they could grow like that. That and the fog. And so, but it's also been it's also been modern science tested that a redwood grove can, because it used to extend for the whole entire coastline. Pacific Northwest used to have redwoods all up and down it, and they function as a grove. So that, and this has been tested now, if there is a nitrogen deficiency in the soil happening in one part of a redwood grove, that they can move nitrogen through the mycorrhizal fungi for 100 miles or more up through the soil to balance that nitrogen, or to balance those chemicals out in the soil. Now, that can take 100 to 200 years, but when you live 5,000 years, that doesn't really matter. So that's not that long of a time. So this kind of thing, when you understand it, this just leaves me speechless. I'm just in awe. I mean, true awe, to where you can't, it's crazy. So, Mick says, can confirm, originally a California boy, nothing like the Redwoods. Most people don't understand that it's a rainforest. They are not only in the tropics. That's right, it is a temperate rainforest. It gets so, I love the winter time there. Let's see. Yes. So, let's see. Okay. Let's see. A few more things. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, here is what we do. So, you guys probably watched the short that I made about the peppers. And here is what you want to do is dry them like this. I smoked them, dehydrated them, and then you store them whole. You store them whole like this, and that is because you only grind up what you need for the next week or so. Or if you really want to do it gourmet, you only grind up what you need for that meal. And you will get the freshest, most explosively delicious flavor from these things. The smoke flavor is beyond compare. Nothing that you buy from the store can possibly compare to this, because they'll have a bunch of chemicals in it trying to mimic this flavor, but they never can mimic it completely, because this is the real deal. And so, but once you grind it like this, it begins to oxidize, and therefore the oxidative damage will degrade the compounds, the terpenes and all of this stuff that make the flavor. And so if you keep them whole like this, they will maintain their flavor well into the winter, pretty much next year. So yes, that guy Chris says, paprika making reminds me of the Czech Republic. Big time production there. Good stuff. Yes, definitely. I was in the Czech Republic, Prague, and I remember the peppers. There's so many different kinds of peppers. They're wonderful in their little markets. It was a Christmas markets. But I grew the Ivarsky pepper this year, which is like a Macedonian roasting type pepper, they say, and it turned out really good. It roasts really nice because the way that the skin is, you roast it and it turns evenly black all the way through. Flip it over, evenly black all the way through. And then once you steam it for a moment, you scrape it off, and the skin comes off really easily. So that's a really good attribute of that pepper, which I liked a lot. And so this is a good tip, guys, is leave them whole. That has to do with all the spices, really. And this is here the ironwort. This is what it looks like, the Greek mountain tea. Yes. And let's see, Blackbird Schoolies, what's up, my friend? Good to see you here. Says we're gonna smoke all the rest of the last of our peppers on the bushes now. Jalapenos, serrano, poblano, banana. Nice. All of them. Smoke them all, guys, for sure. They will all work. Now, the one thing, though, the jalapenos, serranos, I would do separately from the poblanos and bananas, because that would add a lot more heat. If you want the flavor, then the poblano and the banana. Yeah. Leland says, when you ferment cherry tomatoes, are they supposed to turn to mush? Now, sometimes they can, which they're still perfectly fine. But sometimes they can turn to mush like that, yes. But it's still perfectly fine. You can eat it like like on bruschetta or something like that. Eat it like a salsa, mix it with different things. But that typically, in my experience, has to do with the freshness of the tomatoes and where they were at. You want to use fresh tomatoes for this just before they hit their maximum ripeness, and that is going to allow for the best product. But yeah, they don't stay there like normal tomatoes. They don't just they definitely turn much softer. Yeah, Val says, my cherry tomatoes turn to mush also. Still tastes good. Knighted said, my turn to mush. Think it is the pressure that builds up if the top is sealed. Going to try a pressure releaser. Okay, nice. Yeah. Yes. Big West says, Dr. Elaine had A chemical show up in neighboring trees in 7 to 8 minutes during a test. Yes, I believe this. That's how fast it can happen. Yes. Let's see. Look to Nature says, when do I terminate my cover crop beans before planting garlic? Cover crop beans. Well, if they're only for cover crop, then you want to actually terminate them before the pods mature, definitely. And that is because once the roots of the legume will store lots of nitrogen and minerals until it needs to pump them into the seeds and all of that. And so if you let the seeds go all the way, or if you let them go, even if they're green beans, if you let them go even till they're a little bit too thick for eating, then that is going to sort of empty out those reserves of so if you're doing it for a cover crop, you can terminate them now before they get oh, okay, no pods yet. Okay, then you're fine. You're still totally fine. So that's really ideal. I mean, if it's just for the cover crop, you want to do it before they really even set the pods, or when the pods are just real small. So yeah, but the garlic will need to be planted before long. Now here in zone 5/6, I don't even know what zone we are anymore, really, because everything is so different now. But you guys asked me what type of salt I like. This is a really good type. When you like that crunchy salt, definitely. I think I got it in my Amazon store. So guys, check out my Amazon store front. All the stuff that I use in all my videos is all going to be in there. Except we ain't going to be putting these in there. That's for sure. Sorry, Fiskers. Otherwise, a very good company, but these are a joke. So as you all know, I won't even get into it. But those won't be here. But something that will be is guys, this is a great companion. I carried this in the mountains for many years, and it's just wonderful because you can use it for all kinds of things. But if you're in like dicey situations and you have this on your hip, it sends the right kind of message, you know, especially if you know how to use it. So it's a wonderful thing. And look how stylish this thing is. I mean, this has been my companion for many, many years, although I don't wear it anymore because I don't live that lifestyle anymore. So, is this the Skull Crusher? No, this is not the Skull Crusher. This is the K-Bar. Yes, Marine Corps fighting knife, and it's designed for that purpose. It's very good, lightweight, very razor sharp, good blade design, and a tang, so your hand's not going to slip. Very good grip, and it comes in a beautiful. See how it just weathers? I've had this for like 10 or 15 years, and I wore it every day in the mountains, and it was like a nice companion. So that will be in the store. The store name is Garden Like a Viking, and that you can just go there. So in this video description, just check it out and let me know what you guys think. Is it easy to navigate? I mean, but all the stuff I have is there. So in the description of this video, if you go there, it's the Amazon storefront. So you click on it, and then I tried to make it into different things, like all the ingredients you need to brew the fertilizers, all the stuff that I use for cooking, like the wok that I have and all that stuff. Everything that I put in there is stuff that I hand select and that I believe in. Yes? Freebird says, that knife would be a great Christmas present. Oh, man. If you've got this kind of guy in your life, or gal, then they would love a good K-Bar. It's a friend for life, really. So, yes. Yes, and VA Green says, I think we should call cannabis medicine instead. It could be hurting Nate on the YouTube algorithm. It could be, maybe, yeah, definitely. But I'm not worried. Kip Tap says, oh man, again with the Fiskers. Will it ever die? Blackbird Schoolies, K-Bar, not the Cameless. No. What is the store name, Susanna? Yes, Garden Like a Viking. And guys, remember, I did this for you guys because you guys are always asking what varieties of garlic are you growing, and it's just been stuff I've acquired from friends over the years. But this year I got it from Fruition Seeds, and I got some proper seed garlic. And so now I will be able to tell you guys Italy Hill Giant garlic. Now I'm thinking that this is going to be my favorite because look how big they are. They're big, they're easy to peel. These were the guidelines, the stipulations. They're big, easy to peel, and very pungent. And they store a long time. So they pretty much hit all the factors. Now, this was like $45, guys. Seed garlic is no joke. But that's what I use the donations to get stuff like this. Because normally I would never buy something like this. Because this is $100 in garlic, what I'm going to show you right now. And but I think it's going to be worth it. Because each one of these I will plant and it will become more. And then next year we'll plant more. It'll be several years. But hopefully this will be the main one. So we'll see how this one grows. The other one that I got, well, I got two more, was the German white hardneck garlic. German white hardneck. So this is also really pungent, stores a long time, and easy to peel. So, but it's much smaller. But we'll see. We'll see how it does here in this area. Now, the reason I like Fruition Seeds is because all their stuff is adapted to Zone 5. You know, they're in the Finger Lakes area in New York. And so they specifically, all their fruit trees, all their stuff is specifically designed for Zone 5. 6, Zone 6, 5, 4, stuff like that. Now, here is the final type of garlic. This is the chestnut red hardneck. And so it looks very red. These little bulbs, though, I don't know about that. I mean, we're not into that little tiny stuff because it's so laborious to peel. So we would rather have, 100 cloves of this giant fat stuff instead of this like tiny stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what grows better and what tastes better and what stores better. So if you ever wonder what I do with the donations, it's that kind of thing, and to get the good kefir grains, like remember, if you want the grains yourself, link in the Amazon store. And I'm making, come to find out, you can make kombucha from vinegar from the kombucha. So I had some kombucha that I just let go way long time. So, and it literally tastes exactly like vinegar. So we're experimenting around with that as well. But, okay, guys, so I think we are here. It has been 90 minutes, and Jody K says, I got some garlic from the farmer's market. Is there a way to tell if it's hardneck garlic? I'm new to this. Yes, definitely, there is a way. You can tell, because the hardneck garlic will have coming out of it here, you'll see like a stem. You see that? And it will be hard, like that. Now, the soft neck, I don't have any out here right now. Because I love the scapes. When you're growing it, only the hardneck garlic puts out that scape, because that is what I eat all summer long. I mean, all summer, it's about a 3 to 4 week window where I'm just eating the scapes and fermenting the scapes for later use, freezing them. So, yeah, and they say that the hardneck varieties tend to do better in the north. And so, yeah, I mean, I also have some soft neck varieties. They store a little bit longer, it seems. The soft neck does. But, yes. Oh, Lisa says, Italy Hill is out of stock at Fruition. Yeah, that's not surprising because it just checks all the boxes. So, yeah, if it's soft neck, it's not going to have that stem in it. It's just going to terminate right there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Scarecrow says it's an investment, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah. That guy Chris says elephant garlic grows scapes too, though not technically garlic. That's true. Yeah, it does. Although they're not nearly as good or as tender as the regular garlic, in my experience. And the elephant garlic isn't nearly as pungent, actually. So, okay, CyberCert says, Nate, I'm just harvesting my sweet potatoes right now. They're tiny like carrots, even though the leaves were so vigorous. Did I overcrowd them? What did you do for soil fertility? CyberCert, what did you do for soil fertility? Let me know. Ursula, yes, have a fabulous weekend. Looking forward to a vibrant Thrive stream on Monday. That's right. Remember, guys, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Thrive Like a Viking channel. We are doing this again, except with different kind of stuffs. Yes. And let us see here. Yes, take care, Lee. I'm waiting for CyberCert to tell me what they did for soil fertility. Because Sweet potatoes, if you have too rich of soil, they will grow a ton of vigorous leaves. Okay. Okay, put the sweet potatoes in a bag of mostly deciduous leaf mold. Yeah, exactly. See, this is what happened with me this year. Because I'm experimenting with the Viking granular nutrients, and I'm getting it all dialed in for you guys. So all the other stuff that you saw, this stuff, did really well. All the everything else, the tomatoes love the Viking granular nutrients, but the sweet potatoes, I overdid it. I overdid it because they were bursting. I never seen such big, huge, beautiful sweet potato leaves. And the vines were like 30 feet long because I just let it go. It's experiments, because we can grow sweet potatoes the normal way, yes. And I did for some of them. But in the experiment plot, so the vine, and it just got away from me. I was keeping them trimmed to about 5 or 6 feet for the first couple months. But then the last month or so, it just got away and it creeped along the fence line. And it was like 30 feet long. The sweet potato vine. Super vigorous, lush greens. And then I went to harvest and they're like just weak. And this is because of, this will happen if it's too rich. Now, I got a little overzealous with the fertilizer and applied too much. So we found the upper limit. So next year, sweet potatoes don't need much nutrients. So that was probably the issue. That was probably the issue. Yes, Freebird, get them days switched. We would love to see you there. Eventually, once we get enough momentum on the Thrive Like a Viking channel, we will do 2 a week. Yes. So, okay, my friends, I will see you next time. And we'll be right here. Check out the store. I already said that like 10 times. And thank you all for a good chat. This one was really good. I feel like I'm here with a big group of friends. Yeah, and you guys are having your own chat. And I also started the Discord thing. I think I did it right. Mobius haven't responded to my email yet, so I'm not entirely sure. But I did I set up a Discord. So any of you guys that have Discord, it's called Garden Like a Viking Tribe. So I think I've done it right. So it's like, literally, it was just like 2 days ago. And I started it. So it's up on my desktop computer upstairs. So if you guys are into Discord, it's just like a chat room where you guys can chat. We can chat at any time. And we can just come back and get to it. It's like the live comment section, except it's a chat room. You know how those used to work. So sign into it. I don't really know what you do. Sign into it or something. I'm still feeling the whole thing out. But it seems pretty simple. So you'll see my picture, the Garden Like a Viking picture, and we can begin talking about whatever. Let me know what you guys are doing. No, Discord does not cost to sign up, Val. So it's it's just like a chat room. It's Garden Like a Viking Tribe, and you can chat and post pictures and stuff like that. And yes. So Julianne says, Nate, if you take the sweet potato vines and water in a bucket, would that be the ferment for fertilizer you need? Yes, sweet potatoes. It's the best thing for sweet potatoes. The best fertilizer for sweet potatoes is sweet potatoes. So the potatoes, the vines, all of that, digest it for next year. And yes, that will be a great video. Ooh, 5 Acre Woods. Don't forget the mustard video. Thank you. Okay. Don't forget the mustard video. Yes. Lorif. No, I never lived in Fort Collins. Okay, so seeing you guys on Discord. So link to the Viking store, Jerry Melia. Well, it's the Amazon storefront for now, but I will have like a merchandise storefront. I'm still trying to come up with some clever ideas for the Viking merch, which will be cool, which will be super cool. So in particular, it would be super cool for you guys to take pictures wearing the merch or using the merch and post them somewhere. We'll have some kind of contest, some kind of thing where, I don't know, some kind of giveaway thing. Let's see. Beach by Repeat says, is the Discord name capitalized? Okay. So that's what I need to know. You guys are saying having trouble finding your Discord channel. What's the name again? It's Garden Like a Viking Tribe, but I'm not entirely sure 100% that I did it right. But it's open. I put a comment in there. No, it's like not the whole name. It's just Garden, capital, like a Viking. Each word is capitalized. I don't know if that matters, but let me know if you can find it. So if not, then let's get it sorted out in some way. So we will, we need to get it sorted out. So you guys can email me or something like that at the gardenlikeaviking at Gmail, or Instagram is best, Okay, so you guys can't find it. Well, I'll have to work on that. So I'm not really sure because I'm away from my computer right now. So we will work on that, and we will get back to you guys next time. Make a link. Ooh, a link to the Discord. Yeah, that's what I should do. Okay, that's what I'll do. As soon as this video is over, I'm going to go upstairs and try to get the link, and I'll put it in the description of the video. Yes. You need an invite link from me. Okay. I should, okay. So I'll put the link in the description then. We'll see about that. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to do that and put it in the description. So, okay. We'll see you guys there, my friends.